Hey everyone, we're going to study ecosystems. Now, we did this at the very beginning of fifth grade, so we want to review what we already know so that we can keep remembering all of the things about ecosystems throughout the year. Ecosystems Unit Study Guide. I'm going to read this with you, so please follow along. A producer is a plant that makes its own food. Producer and plant both start with P. A decomposer is the most responsible for recycling the dead animals and plants in an ecosystem. A decomposer. And those decomposers would be things like mushrooms, fungus, and bacteria. Number three, if woods were cleared to build houses, then animal population would experience a decrease in food in that area. Okay. Number four, if an eagle population suddenly decreased, then there could be an overpopulation of snakes. All right, so remember, let's look at this. So if this is the eagles and this is the snakes, right? Eagles eat snakes. So thank goodness, I don't want to eat a snake. Eagles can eat the snakes. So if the eagle population decreases, the snake population increases. Watch this. As the snake, let's talk about the prey. As the snake population increases, we can have more eagles. But if the snake population decreases, so does the eagles decrease. Number five, fungus, mushrooms, and bacteria are decomposers. Maybe I should move that up closer to number two, because they are the same thing. When developers build more houses at the beach, the turtles lose their habitat. That relates also to number three. If the woods were cleared to build houses, animal population would decrease. So that's number three and number six are the same thing. Number seven, a decrease in the prey population will cause a decrease in the predator population. If there's not many chicken nuggets, there's not many kids eating chicken nuggets. If there's a lot of chicken nuggets, there's a lot of kids eating chicken nuggets. All right, number eight, if a pesticide is sprayed to kill the insects, then animals that eat the insects will also decrease in number. So if the insects are going down, then the animals who eat the insects are also going down. Number nine, carnivores eat meat. Carne means meat. So herbivores eat plants. Herb means plants. Omnivores eat animals and plants. Omni means all. So carne is meat, herb means plants, and omni is all. Number 10. A food chain is a series of organisms through which energy is passed. So it goes from the plant to the first consumer, which might be maybe a grasshopper is eating the grass. And then along comes a frog that eats the grasshopper. And then along comes a bird who eats the frog, and so forth. And the energy is passed from the grass to the grasshopper, to the frog, to the bird. Number 11. A food web is a diagram. It's a drawing of several connected food chains. A food web more represents what happens in nature because the grasshopper may not just eat one piece of grass. The grasshopper may eat different kinds of plants. And so the food web shows all the different connections between plants and animals. Number 12, a shark is a secondary consumer because it's at the top of the saltwater food chain. So a shark would eat another animal that has already eaten another animal or plant. So the shark is a second eater, and at least the second eater on the food chain. Maybe there's a plant, maybe there's some kelp, and then maybe something eats the kelp, and then maybe the shark eats that thing. So the second step would be the shark. Okay. Number 13, producers use the sun's energy to make their own food. Produce their own food. They are green usually and can make their own food. We are not green and we cannot make our own food. We have to go find our food. Number 14, a food chain needs a whole lot more producers than it does consumers. So it needs a whole lot of grass to feed the grasshoppers, a whole lot of plants to feed the animals, and not as many consumers in that food chain. Number 15, algae is a green plant that lives in the water and that provides food for aquatic life. We just don't want too much algae, or that would crowd out the pond. Number 16, natural materials such as plants will decompose faster than man-made materials. So what I mean is, like, if you have a food, let's say you have a wrapper. You have a wrapper around Little Debbie. That's a plastic wrapper. Then you have a banana peel around a banana. So if you eat what the inside of the banana and inside the wrapper of the Little Debbie, then you throw the banana peel on the ground, you throw the plastic wrapper on the ground. Guess what? In a few days, the banana peel will decompose and the plastic wrap will be there for years. So natural materials, such as plants, will decompose faster than man-made materials. Number 17, a niche, well, some people say niche. A niche is the role of the consumer. The owl's niche is to control the rodent population. So maybe your niche is where you are in the food chain. Okay. So the cow's niche is to eat the grass. The woodpecker's niche is to eat the bugs in the tree. Number 18. A food chain shows how energy and nitrogen is passed from the bottom of the food chain to the top of the food chain. That all reminds me of something else we read earlier about the food chain. Yes, it is number 10 and number 18 are the same. If a pesticide, which means it's going to kill bugs, if a pesticide is spilled into a lake, the water would be contaminated and the animals in the water would be poisoned and die. That's not cool. All right, so we want to keep our pesticides out of the water and out of the lake. Number 20, we live in a deciduous or temperate forest biome. Deciduous means the trees decide to drop their leaves in the fall. Number 21, a habit, excuse me, should say habit, should say habitat. A habitat is the place where an animal lives. We live in our habitat. People live in homes, ants live in ant hills, okay, and stuff like that. And birds live in nests. So their habitat is where an animal lives. That is our study guide for ecosystems unit.